tonight as we round out the final hours of the WDWNT Charity Marathon Show to benefit the Cast Member Pantry. On my panel today, I have first-timer Alicia, her first time ever on Pressing Issues. And then we also have this guy.
I'm being warmed up.
You got this. Don't let Jason intimidate you. We talked about this.
With the camera, everything's crooked.
And then we also have Spencer, because the Pressing Issues viewers love
Spencer.
Spencer.
He's muted.
He is muted.
There you go, Spencer.
Deodorant?
Hi, Spencer.
Maybe he got it.
I do have deodorant.
Oh, good.
Is it Nivea for men?
Yes, it is.
It's the only thing they would ship to me.
Wow.
They can't hear us?
I did what I had to do to survive.
People are saying they can hear.
That's incorrect.
Correct. That's the incorrect fact of the day.
Sorry.
That's okay.
It's all right.
All right, so
Am I crooked? I feel like everything's crooked.
you're always crooked.
That's how we got here.
So if you were here a little bit ago, you heard Pete say donate now. So I put the big donate now graphic up there. But anyway, yeah, we're raising money for the Cast Member Pantry tonight to help the 32,000 furloughed cast members that have been furloughed.
I want to clarify, we're not laughing about people being furloughed. We've heard that Chris Reed thing 500 times, which Chris has a great radio voice. It's just when you hear the same line 500 times, you just, like, I think all day we've just been yelling being furloughed. Yeah, so just to clarify what's happening. Also, we've been on the air for 63 hours, so that's what's happening.
Our donation total at this point is $20,293. So thank each and every one of you who've donated, no matter how much, to get that donation total up there. That is an amazing amount. It's like $7,000 past our initial goal. We had to increase the goal twice since then. So thanks again for every penny of that to benefit the cast members who make the magic at Walt Disney World. We're going to feed a lot of people.
But we can feed a lot more. We got time left.
We do.
So we set a new goal.
We got
25,000. Yeah.
We have 2 hours and 3 hours. A little over 3 hours.
Yeah.
Right? Okay.
Depends how long Pressing Issues goes.
Apologize for Pressing Issues starting 45 minutes late, but that's really Tom's fault.
Back to the Future was very long.
It was, but it was a good one.
It was.
It was a good one.
One of my favorites.
Today we're going to have an abbreviated version of Pressing Issues because we're really anxious to get this auction underway at 9:30. That's when we scheduled it.
Jason's going to be an
start.
auctioneer, so I'm very
I'm going to be an auctioneer. So
map for a 10.
Do you have a gavel?
I think the sound effects are built into the auction website. Honestly, what that they're built in?
Going twice, we'll check
I mean,
back.
do we have a hammer? Can somebody go run in there and get the hammer?
No, you're not hammering my table with a real hammer.
Anyway, so we're here for 45 minutes just to talk about a couple of pressing
45
issues.
minutes. Doesn't the show end at 10?
No, 9:30.
Since when?
Since the auction.
Is the auction starting earlier now?
Well, I've added almost 30 items to the auction since Friday.
Are you just starting it earlier because you want to eat your wings when they get here? Is that
No,
what this
I'm
is about?
starting it earlier because I
just
think
want to start
we're gonna need
belching
the
on the
time.
air as soon as possible.
I think I've already been drinking the beer. I think we're going to need the time for the auction. We have 132 items
I don't
now.
care. That's fine.
Here we go. I got the hammer.
I would like to eat in 45 minutes. That works for me.
Okay, good.
I'm taking one of these hats.
All right, so let's.
You can't. They're auctioned already.
Let's get started. A couple of pressing issues to talk about. I think the first one.
Show. You said the name of the show.
I did.
Lisa, how'd you get here?
Pete, go sit down. I think the biggest one to talk about this week is the whatever you want to call it that happened to Joe Rohde. Did he retire? Was he forced out? Was he pushed out? Was he convinced to retire? I don't know, but he's gone. And he was by far one of the most revered, most well-known Imagineers. Has been with the company for 40 years, and he's gone. And what does this mean for the future of Imagineering? What does it mean for the future of the Walt Disney Company, which has become, over the course of the last, I don't know, 10 years, has gone down the slippery slope of creative bankruptcy. And
I think it's way shorter than that. I think it's the last, like, 3.
Okay, well, whatever. But clearly has been on this slippery slope of creative bankruptcy, and I think it just fell off the precipice at this point, with Joe being gone. There aren't many Imagineers left because 400 of them were furloughed, fired, terminated, a couple months ago. And so what do we think is going to be the impact, especially on the parks? I mean, show mostly talks about the parks, but the company in general. What do we think is going to be the impact of essentially having a skeleton crew of Imagineers, and no one as well known as Joe Rohde leading up the charge for the creative side of this company?
You don't have to be well known to be a good Imagineer.
No, you don't.
That's number one. But I think what it signals is a cultural change that we have been talking about since pretty much after Pandora. A cultural change in, Chapek came into the division in 2015. And since then, like Pandora was already in the works, but we've seen a lot of stuff that is creatively bankrupt. And it's all about leveraging intellectual property. That's what they told WDI their purpose was. Like, I think it was last year. They came down from high up in the company. WDI's main purpose is now to leverage intellectual properties in what they do. It's not about storytelling. It's not about creating places people want to visit. It's about leveraging intellectual properties. That is the terminology they use continuously. Joe is the last leader of a gone generation of people who were around when the company still believed in doing different things in the parks. Joe worked on Epcot. He did some work on the Mexico Pavilion. He worked on Maelstrom and some things there. And Joe, I think in the course of that, and who Joe is as a person, blazed this creative trail. When it was time to do a park about animals, the company was like, this is the guy to put in charge. This is a guy who will go to these countries and will execute them correctly in this setting. And Joe did. Joe was a great creative leader, but Joe also...
You're watching WDWNT's 65-hour podcast to benefit the...
This is why I'm never on this show.
I just wanted to put the graphic up with the URL for people that don't.
We're continuing shortly.
Can you pause it so it doesn't keep looping over and over again?
Because I want the snowflakes.
Okay.
You're a snowflake. No, I completely forgot where it was. I don't even know what anymore.
Bob Weir?
I was who? It's Weiss.
You were
Weird. Bob Weir.
Bob Weir.
Oh,
that's why you're not on the show.
Joe being gone is like the last domino to fall. Like the people that would fight for any sort of like thematic integrity or cultural relevance or a responsibility in a project to also teach people, not only be fun Star Wars ride. Joe is one of the last of those people. I think a lot of people that worked under Joe also were of the 400 that are gone. So a lot of people that he, gave that knowledge to are no longer there either. But what I said to some of those people, I talked to some of those people after they were gone, and I was like, you are incredibly talented people. You're going to go creative. I'm excited to see whatever you will do wherever you go. I would love if it's for the Disney company because that's the thing I've fallen in love with in my life. But obviously, you learned from Disney, so you take that with you wherever you go. But I think it's the end of that. I think we're reaching the end of that era of people, and now we have this era of people like in this Trowbridge era, where Scott Trowbridge is not the guy that's going to lead a charge like that. Scott Trowbridge is the guy who's going to replicate what he did for Harry Potter and do the same thing, and then be stunned when it doesn't work for Star Wars. These people don't get it, and as opposed to Joe, which Pandora I think proves more than any project that he just gets it. He gets it from a theme park standpoint. He gets it. He just understands what's going to speak to people and how you get a message across and how you can invite people to learn. And
Guardians, a project that was doomed to fail that he made.
And Guardians, but Guardians turned out great. Yeah, there's nothing wrong. Like, I will tell you, I like things that are just IP based. There are plenty of those things where I think they're done so well that's fine. It's great, like a Mysterious Island or Cars Land or those things, and they're IP based. I don't care. They're wonderful things. But then I like that the parks have everything. Like Raleigh Crump said, Disneyland is a salad. You can't have a salad with just lettuce, right? You have to have all these different things to make the salad. And if everything becomes one thing, so if Epcot becomes a collection of attractions that also fit in the Magic Kingdom, then the Disney theme parks cease to be what they've always been and become this homogenous, gross, corporate produced swill, which is what they're slowly becoming. I think Joe is, in my view, the last domino fall, because Bob Weiss is a pushover and should just leave at this point. He lets Chapek cut whatever he wants. He's just there to toe the company line. And it's a shame, because I think Bob was a really creative guy and did some great stuff in his time. And Tom Fitzgerald just, running out the clock. And I don't know. We've seen this. The writing has been on the wall for 3 years, and here we are with now with the pandemic on top of it, no hope of things with budget or creativity or innovation. Unless it's a Star Wars hotel. That's where we're at. It's sad. It's super sad and depressing, and I don't really want to think about it, but it's the reality we live in at this moment in time.
Yeah, I mean, that's absolutely well said. And I mean, there's always hope, and I think we'll always, as Disney fans, we'll always hold out hope.
It's cyclical.
That it's cyclical and things will turn up. I think we'll also hold out hope that, a new Joe Rohde will hopefully is already employed by the company and just has to step up.
But he has to be allowed to be Joe Rohde. He has to be allowed to be that kind of person.
He does.
Yeah.
I mean, but at some point, not only does he has to step up first. Like, he has to put himself out there as, I want to be the creative force behind Imagineering, and I'm going to stick my neck out and not let these, accountants budget cut all of the projects to death until you get an attraction like Runaway Railway that is, essentially the same attraction as a 20-year-old Pooh's Honey Hunt, but somehow worse 20 years later. Yeah. Right? I mean, that's what we're getting now. We got an attraction that uses almost the identical ride technology as Pooh's Honey Hunt, but you'd think after 20 years they could make it better, and somehow they've made it worse. I rode Runaway Railway again this week, and I still walk away after riding it 4 or 5 times now. I still walk away and think to myself, what the hell just was that about? Like,
what was that?
Like, what is going on? I don't understand what's happening.
The writing wasn't good.
Story.
What?
The writing was bad.
Yeah,
well,
it's awful.
The show writing was bad.
Yeah.
I don't think budget's part of it. Like, that ride has a bunch of problems, but I think its biggest problem is
There's no
coherency.
storyline that's coherent.
It's not coherent.
No,
And it's not zany enough. I don't feel like I've entered the cartoon world. The only like madcap moment is you bust through a door into a dance studio and then the train cars start dancing. Yeah. Otherwise, you're just going to different places. Like nothing truly that wacky.
No.
Is happening.
That's what I mean. Like
you're going into a cartoon world, and the only thing you've come up with are these real-world scenarios, like a tornado, a waterfall.
Yeah.
Like those are things in the real. In the real world, a train isn't going to bust into a dance studio and dance. I get that.
Right.
That's fun. I like that scene, and it has an animatronic in it that's actually pretty decent.
But I mean, that's the only scene that it really has any resemblance to Pooh's Honey Hunt.
I agree.
Right? Like
it's the only scene that effectively uses trackless technology.
Yeah.
Exactly. Well, and that's exactly right. And so that's the most fun scene in that attraction, simply because, you know, that's the most fun scene in Pooh's Honey Hunt, when the cars are dancing and their disco ball lights and flashing and everything. So yeah, that's a fun scene. I actually don't like it because I don't think it's very comfortable. I think it's too jerky.
A little jerky.
Oh,
yes.
Yeah.
But I like the idea.
But it's a great idea, and it's a fun idea.
And the Daisy figure at least looks like Daisy.
Decent.
Yeah.
But I mean, even so, the room that you're in for that scene is just an empty box with mirrors.
It is like a
right?
theater,
Like other than the animatronic, there's nothing else to look at in that scene. You've got the tornado scene, which is another black box with a tornado projected and some fans.
Every time the lightning strikes, you can see the walls.
Yeah, so it's like, I mean, clearly
they should have circled the tornado. I don't understand who didn't think that was the right decision. The vehicle should circle the tornado.
Which is what happens in Mystic Manor, right? So you've got Mystic Manor, and there's a scene in Mystic Manor where there's something in the middle of the room and the vehicle circle it. It's not hard. They don't even need to think about these things. They just need to look at what they've already done. And for some reason, they're not. I mean, when you have people like me or Tom, who are not creative people, that can come up with ways to make a better attraction in 2020 that opened, you know, half a year ago, it doesn't take a lot to come up with these pretty simple ideas. I think we should expect more from the Walt Disney Company. And I'm not blaming this on Imagineering, because it's not necessarily their fault. They might have come up with better ideas, and they were budget cut. We don't really know. But in any case, we as Disney fans need to hold this company to a much higher standard. I think that's the problem. That's the issue. And when, you know, Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railway has, you know, a 45 or 50-minute wait.
I waited 50 minutes this afternoon.
You wasted an hour of your life.
An hour of my life.
It's a good ride.
2 if you count this show.
Well, wasn't it, because I was watching Tom and Josh yesterday, and isn't Runaway Railway one of the highest rated attractions at the resort? Right now it's got like a 94% guest satisfaction rating.
I think it's pretty divisive. I think it's 50-50.
I mean, it may be highly rated, but is that because it's new? I'm sure a big portion of it is because it's new.
If anything we've learned over time, projection-based attractions age more rapidly than anything else.
Absolutely.
Star Tours, original Star Tours aged more rapidly than all the things around it.
Yep.
And Railway will be no different.
Yep.
And I don't know if you'll just keep updating projector technology and that will stay relevant, but there's a timelessness to Pirates of the Caribbean and Haunted Mansion because you notice details you hadn't noticed before. Yeah. There's only so much on a flat surface that you can possibly keep noticing. You know?
Yeah.
So
that's true. I mean, even though I know you guys may not, but I love Soaring over California. It still feels old.
California's better.
I don't know why you hate Soaring, but
I never liked Soaring either.
I like Soarin' as a fun attraction, but it really is. I mean, Soarin' is like the next generation of a Circle Vision film, in my book, right? Like, it's not a ride; it's like a film that has a pretty interesting, you know, theater setup.
No, I agree.
Are you out of your minds? Give me a mic and a camera.
You don't think Circle Vision was that cool when it debuted in the
I'm standing
1950s and
still in the middle of a
60s?
room as opposed to
In
feeling like I'm on a ride.
You think in the 1960s that wasn't as cool as a hang glider ride in 2005?
Sure, in the 1960s.
Yeah, that's what we're saying. And he's
That's
not
what I'm
saying
saying.
today. He's not saying.
1980s.
He's not
That's what
saying
I'm saying.
today. He's saying Soren
I'm
now
saying
is like
they-
Circle Vision was to people in the 60s. That's what he's saying.
Right. So
it's a novel new way to
So
experience
Circle Vision
film.
was here in the 60s, and Soren is here in 2000, but it's
Eventually, Circle Vision got down here, and Soren someday is going to get down here.
I
right.
mean, as
And
the only person who was there, I believe you, Jason.
You're not Mike. Stop it. You're not on this show.
can we get rid of him?
I'm not even
It's
on
your
the show.
decision.
So what I'm saying is Soren is taking a projection movie type of show to the next level, right? And the problem is that after 40 years of Circle Vision, technology has advanced to the point where you can take a projection movie around the world style of show to the next level with projection technology and the ride technology to give you a great experience. So for that part, I like Soren. But it shouldn't be classified as an e-ticket attraction. Sure, it's great. Sure, a lot of people like it, but it's really just a movie with the next level of presentation. And so when you look at Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railway, and it's 20 years after Pooh's Honey Hunt, where is that quantum shift in technology from a trackless ride vehicle attraction to what is the next level of trackless ride vehicle attraction? You sort of see it in Rise of the Resistance, right? Like,
they just did that because Rise of the Resistance opened, and it has like all these different integrations
Right.
of ride systems.
So
right?
Rise of the
And
Resistance.
then the other innovation is Beauty and the Beast. It's the motion bases on the trackless vehicle.
Right.
It's just not in Florida.
And so you have Pooh's Honey Hunt here in 2000, and the quantum shift in evolution of that type of ride is either Rise of the Resistance or Beauty and the Beast, right? Like, it takes that same basic type of ride and elevates it to a much higher playing field. And so to get Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railway and have not elevated that same type of ride to the same level as Rise of the Resistance, it's like they didn't learn anything after 20 years.
What happened was you built Honey Hunt, and then you're like, all right, Mystic Manor,
Right.
Rise of the Resistance, Runaway Railway, Remy's Ratatouille Adventure. I'm under the table. Remy's Ratatouille Adventure is somewhere down here. Hello.
Hello, Tom.
And so how do you take...
Oh no.
Is
And this
is Ratatouille trackless?
Yeah.
Remy is trackless,
Yeah.
yes.
But
Okay.
how do you impress guests with two rides in the same park that opened within a year of each other, that use the same ride
4 months of
technology,
each other.
that use almost identical ride technology, and one of them is amazing and can't handle the capacity, and they have to institute a virtual queue, and the virtual queue fills in 12 seconds.
And the other one's Rise of the Resistance.
You put a different shirt on and you turn that camera on and you think I'm going to switch to you, but I'm
No,
not.
I'm just going to keep sitting here.
How do you put these two attractions, which are essentially stripped down to the bare minimum, identical ride technology, and expect people to think that Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railway is a great attraction when you have Rise of the Resistance, which uses the same ride technology and is a great attraction for Star Wars? I think. I mean, personally, I don't think Rise of the Resistance is the greatest attraction ever, but I will acknowledge that it's a quantum leap up for trackless ride technology. And Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railway is, like Tom said, not even like staying at the same level as Mystic Manor. It's down from that. Yeah. And you put these two in the same park. What I want to see is a survey that asks people, you know, which ride did you like better, Rise of the Resistance or Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railway? I want to see the survey results of people.
And I could even give them the option of I like them equally. And I bet Rise still destroys Runaway Railway.
Right?
Yeah.
Because
Runaway Railway, the review is, and Pete says people like it. What I always hear is, oh, that was cute. Oh, that was cute.
Yes.
That was
And
cute.
That's cute. It's good.
That is a giant attraction in the middle of the park, in the park's icon.
Yeah.
It shouldn't be, oh, it's cute.
It
No, it
shouldn't
should
be
be like,
cute.
oh, that was great. I'm glad we saw that. That was awesome.
It should be like when I was on Rise
Yeah.
earlier today, and like
Yeah.
when that music kicks in, like I was tearing
Yeah.
up. Like that's what Mickey and Minnie should be. And I got off of it. And
You
I went
know-
to Jason, and I was like, oh no.
You know,
So here's
you
the
know the
question.
greatest
Was
attraction
there-
in the world when you ride them, precisely at the time when everyone is exiting. When everyone is exiting, that's when you know if you're on one of the greatest rides in the world. You know why? Because people tell you. When people like something, it is the first word out of their mouth when they get off a ride. It happens on Flight of Passage. It happens on Rise of the Resistance. It happens at Mystic Manor. It happens in all sorts of things. It doesn't happen at Runaway Railway. Runaway Railway, that was cute. When's lunch?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mobile order. And like,
So
Let's go
hang
get
on.
in the
Here's
60-minute
my
line for the
question.
carnival ride in Toy Story Land.
Hang on. Here's my question. So the argument is that for being in the icon of the park, it needs to be more substantial. Is there something they could have done specifically to this ride concept to make it that level? Would that have been possible, or does it need to be something else entirely?
I mean, animatronics would do it. Live
Writing.
actors would do it.
Yeah.
I mean, look, great movie ride.
Good animatronics would
People-
help the ride.
You know, I mean,
tremendous.
people maybe whoever didn't like Great Movie Ride, it still is a groundbreaking attraction for the experience that it was.
It needed an update.
It needed an update, right? But I think Great Movie Ride in a park about movies was deservedly in the park's icon.
A ride where you travel into the movies, regardless of what movies are in it, is what should be the centerpiece of that park.
And Runaway Railway, yeah, they could have made it better.
Go into a cartoon. We did this Toontown 20 years ago, 30
I mean,
years ago.
if Runaway Railway was more like Mystic Manor with an original story, and you wanted, I mean, you could make it about
It's
Mickey
an original
and Minnie,
story. The
but
problem is, even in comparison to the Mickey Mouse shorts, the story is stupid.
Well,
It
yeah.
is just, it is not easy to follow. It's really just contrived. It's just dumb. Just really dumb.
yeah.
And that's why no one gets invested in it, because no one knows what's going on. And some cars you sit in, you have several scenes, you have no idea what's happening because you missed what happened.
Yeah.
And it's not like, oh, pirates, every time they ride, they'll notice something different. Yeah, but on Pirates, you still know the ride is about pirates. You don't at some point go past the part where they tell you this ride's about pirates. And he was like, I guess this ride's about auctioning women. I don't know. Who are these guys? It's a big hat.
I love that auctioning women ride.
Yeah, like, come on. Like, you have to give, the basic information has to be given to people. They can't just suddenly, come out of a volcano, have a flash of red, and then suddenly be going down a river in a side bubble. Like, what has happened?
Yeah.
It doesn't
I'm the
make any
last car in that
sense.
room. I have no idea what I've missed.
Yeah.
Right.
What happened?
Right. And so
And if
either-
I'm the first car, in that stupid factory scene, I missed the whole end. I don't see the room change.
yeah.
It makes no sense.
Yeah. And so the problem is, story's a problem, right? Obviously,
Yes.
one thing that would make it
Staging.
much better is a good storyline that's coherent.
Story, staging, pacing, animatronics. If you fix
There you
those
go.
4 things, which will be very expensive and a lot of work, then you might have a very
Then you
good
might
ride.
have a ride that's worthy of the park icon.
And it's all projection based, so I would assume just get the animators back and you could redo it.
But
So let's say if they built Runaway Railway in the old animation studio spot instead, would you like the ride more if it wasn't in the middle of the park?
Yeah, because I wouldn't have lost anything of value.
And here's my biggest problem. You look back at the Walt Epcot videos. Here in Florida, we have the blessing of size. We'll never run out of space to hold all the ideas that we can dream of. Well, you take out a great attraction out of the park icon to put this Runaway Railway garbage in. Somehow, in Disneyland, which is much smaller and landlocked,
moved
and
heaven and
they don't
earth.
have the blessing of size, somehow they have been able to put Runaway Railway in without removing another attraction.
They're moving heaven and earth to do it, and meanwhile we were like, this building's big enough.
Like, that's
This
what I
is
don't
good.
get. If you look at the video where Walt's saying the blessing of size, and then you try to understand how they could put Runaway Railway in the central icon of the park, it's like you're looking at 2 different companies. You literally are looking at 2 different companies. There was the company that was run by Walt, and now there's the company that's run by budget cutters and accountants. They're not the same company. They shouldn't even be called the same company. That's the problem.
which is why, like, kind of going back to how we started all this with the Joe Rohde, like, someone out there who works for Disney probably wrote a beautiful version of Runaway Railway, or could have.
They could have.
But they're not going to get that opportunity. Like, you were kind of saying, like, we need that person to, you know, step up and, like, take the initiative. Even if they take that initiative, we don't know that Disney's going to let them take that initiative.
Right, and that's
They
why I
might
was
fire
saying,
them.
that's why I was saying you need an Imagineer to put their neck on the line for what they believe in.
Yeah.
That's what you need. And if the public, if the Disney fans aren't going to hold the Disney company to a higher level, you need somebody within the company to put their neck out, put their job on the line for what they believe in.
Yeah.
And Joe did that.
No. You don't need just one. You need a bunch of them, because they're farming out Imagineers from SCAD all the time. What you need is a bunch of them who are willing to put their necks out on the line for these projects.
He mentioned my trigger word.
SCAD?
SCAD.
Here we go. Here's
Weiss.
Tom's
Here we
rant.
go.
Here's
Bob
Tom's
Weiss.
rant for pressing
Bob
issues.
Weiss
go.
goes on that idiotic Disney podcast that the company puts out with these annoying people. We're just like, oh, we're building a Remy. Oh, wow. Oh, wow. And they all just sit there and wow. And he goes on, he's like, it's part of our inclusivity. We need to find creative voices from new places. Well, Bob, if you hired people that weren't from SCAD or from Cal Arts, you might get a different voice. But the problem is you create these beds, these two hotbeds of people. And they're all these people, they all have the same backgrounds, and they all
learn from the same professors.
Yeah, exactly.
In the case of SCAD, they're from money. They're all the same type of person. They're cookie cutter people who are taught by the same professors that this is what themed entertainment is, and blah, 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 blah. So in my case, like I fully understand. I spend my life in theme parks. I feel like I fully understand how a park works. But I can't do what people like Joe do because I don't have those experiences. I have not traveled the world. I have not done this. Everyone has different experiences. If you pull people from the same two places, you do not get different people. You get people of very similar backgrounds who, are not going to further this, right? What makes the parks work is this amalgamation of weird creative people from wacky different places of different disciplines. If you look at the creation, like Disneyland's first decade, you have this kid, Bob Gurr, who knows how to, I'm going to make this car work. I'm going to make this monorail work. You have Mark Davis, who's an animator, comes in and is punching up these attractions with this comedy stuff. John Hench and Mary Blair and all these people are so different. Harriet Burns and Alice Davis and all these people are from such different backgrounds, have such different talents and such different experiences that you get Disneyland. That is how Disneyland happens. Walt Disney was smart enough to know, like, this just can't be stuff I come up with. These guys, I gotta make them a place where they can go create.
A melting pot of imagination.
You need to have all these different people, and they need to work together, and they together can make something really special. If you keep hiring a bunch of kids from SCAD, you're gonna get the same garbage.
Whoa.
Creativity cannot be produced. I don't believe that. Is it good that you have school programs for this? Probably.
It's
not.
It's good to
Yeah, I mean, it's
I hate every person I've ever met from SCAD. I have been so unimpressed with everything they have worked on in the theme park realm. And I'm sorry, but that's how I feel. Anyway.
You've got a couple people in chat who are calling you out for that.
I don't care. It's my personal experience. Is it true for everyone at SCAD? Maybe not. But I will tell you, all the ones I've interacted with, it is very accurate in my opinion.
Welcome, Ashley. She wants to say something.
Hey. So to kind of piggyback off Tom, I would agree with that. It's not necessarily a bad idea to have an area where you want to draw people to, but that can't be the end all be all. And that seems to be, they don't go outside of that bubble at all. If you want to have, I forget, what's the school for animators that a bunch of them went to and still go to?
CalArts, yeah.
It's where CalArts, yeah. So, I mean, you can have, like, magnet schools like that. I mean, all professions do. But to not ever seem to go outside
I don't think
automatically
SCAD fosters creativity well. I think that's
say,
But that's
I
the
just
problem.
think
Yeah,
you keep hiring from this one place and you don't like the people that come from it, but you keep hiring them. And you're talking about this inclusivity, this fifth key inclusivity.
Yeah.
SCAD is a very expensive school.
It is.
It is a
hundreds of
very
thousands of
expensive school. You're not getting people from different backgrounds. I'm not saying stop taking people from SCAD. I'm just saying maybe you should start taking people from schools that don't necessarily have a theme park or a themed entertainment program.
You need a variety of backgrounds.
Or branch
and when
out
you take,
and go to other schools and start developing those magnet programs elsewhere.
Well, and I mean,
They don't need to come from magnet programs.
Not necessarily magnet programs, but go out and find other schools that are fostering that creativity and draw them in.
Right.
And
so
maybe
the,
go
so
back
the
to
issue
SCAD,
is that
which is your magnet school, and fix that program.
you don't even need that. What you need is, if you want to hire some people from SCAD and some people from CalArts, that's fine. Then you need to hire people from somewhere like MIT who have the engineering background that you need to build rides.
See, they do, though. Those people are good. The research and development people are top-notch. The ride systems are not the problem.
That's true. That's true.
I think it's creativity and management. The R&D people, the stuff that comes out of there, like the animatronics that keep eye contact. And
that's true.
Those permits are always amazing. Like I'm like, who came up with this? These guys.
That's true.
And those guys are from MIT and what's the other one? Carnegie Mellon? Is that the other one?
Carnegie Mellon.
And they're all from, and those guys are
RTI,
fantastic.
Right. Okay.
I'm always amazed with those permits. I don't think that's where they get the wrong people.
Okay.
Because see, I think that's a realm where I think the school does matter more.
Because the people from SCAD can't do that.
Yeah. No,
right?
they can't.
Like they have to get people from.
But R&D people are all Carnegie Mellon and
Yeah.
MIT and all that group. Yeah.
But then here's the question then. So how much of it, I mean, to kind of defend SCAD a little bit of it, how much of it is SCAD and how much of it is budget cuts once it gets to management?
SCAD.
I mean,
they're not creative people.
You need to have a
they don't
compelling
foster
storyline. You need to have a compelling storyline to begin with. And Mickey Mouse Runaway Railway did not have a compelling storyline. It's not like they budget cut the storyline.
Maybe the SCAD professors are just bad. I don't know.
But you're hiring designers, not storytellers. That's why you said you have to have a melting pot.
Right.
You're right.
You can hire designers, right? Like the projection mapping at Runaway Railway is beautiful, and it was from a SCAD alum. That's fine. That's not the same person that should be writing the storyline and everything else. You need you need a team with diverse backgrounds to come up with a story that will resonate with a wide swath of people.
And I think that's kind of where Joe Rohde shined, because he did
He
travel to all
absolutely
of
did.
these places. And
Absolutely.
He took
Yes.
all of that knowledge and experience, and he stuffed it all inside his giant head because he's a genius.
He could always bend his ear.
He's also a good leader, right? I think knowing the people that worked with him on a lot of projects, there was always, I think, they were just good teams of people. They were people from very different backgrounds, with different talents, and I think they got the job done. I think the problem is when you have, 4 SCAD interns and 1, lead developer on a project, and you get the same thing.
It's very homogenous.
Hold on.
Theme park. It's theme parks by. You're not mic'd. There's theme parks paint by numbers is what it is, and that's what they all do.
Here's the thing. Let's hold for just a second, because these are IP based rides, but I have already talked to all of you separately about Beauty and the Beast.
Yeah.
It's a brilliant ride, and the storytelling is so well done, and we've already said over and over again, all of us, I've talked to you, I've talked to you two, and I think I've talked to you as well, that it takes giving them the resources to do what they want and do these creative things. The things that we are asking for are possible to come out of the current generation of Imagineering, but management is the problem. They're not giving them these resources.
Yeah, but you can't use
But
Beauty and
Spencer,
the Beast
Beauty and the Beast is an established story. It wasn't an original story that they had to come up with.
story that did not come out of Imagineering.
We can't. Here's the thing.
Okay,
You
fine.
picked
Then
the
we can
wrong
let's
battle.
talk about the
picked the
queue
wrong
for
battle.
soaring.
The
Then.
battle is not solely against IP attractions.
No,
because
it's
at
not.
the end of the day, Disneyland was built to promote things Walt was doing.
Right.
Like there also were things that were
true.
original. There's a
balance.
balance.
Yeah.
There is a certain amount of originality and things people come, because that's what gets you in the door, right? I believe that you bring people in the door with things they know. So people travel Disney and they're like, oh, these are my 5 favorite Disney movies. I expect to see something from them when I come to Disney World. And then where you really wow them and win them over for life is with these really creative things that they didn't expect to see when they came to Disney World. These small things that maybe weren't even heavily advertised, just a surprise and delight. You come in with 0 expectations and you're just blown away, and you're like, I didn't even know that was here. Oh, that's great.
And so
But I think to your point earlier,
talk about-
Tom, you can't base Imagineers' ability, or to go against kind of what Spencer said, you can't base Beauty and the Beast solely on Imagineers' ability to do what they fully need to do, because the story was already there for them. And again, going back to
there
Mickey
is
and Minnie,
a talent.
that's
There
the
is
issue.
absolutely
The
a
story
talent
is-
in being able to adapt something to a different entertainment
yes.
medium.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay,
you
okay,
can
so let's
translate
talk
still
about-
a talent, but it's still, I would argue it's still not as difficult as coming up with a completely original concept.
I don't think so. Sometimes you're just struck
Whether
with
you're
stuff. I
trying
don't
to
agree with
fix
that. I think
IP,
sometimes it's harder. I
or
think that people have
sometimes-
expectations
Let's
and you have
talk
to
about
meet.
Yeah. Absolutely.
I agree.
And when you
100%
exceed
agree
them,
with
that
Here's
is when
the-
it's at its very best. Like Pooh's Honey
mean-
Hunt. Like, yeah, none of that's new information, but all of it's done in such a thoughtful, creative way that you leave there, you're like, that really felt like I
Yes.
was in
And-
Winnie the
and-
Pooh.
And then-
I
right.
loved
But
those
I
movies,
think-
and the
I think
characters
there's-
are alive, and I was in it.
And then look at Galaxy's
I think
Edge,
those are
where
separate
you've
talents,
taken
though.
something and tried to adapt it to a theme park land and failed miserably, and people
And the
don't
stormtroopers
feel
are on a sheet projected
people
above you.
don't
You're supposed
feel-
to believe they're there.
people don't feel like they're really there.
Yeah.
People don't
But they
feel
tried
like
to
this
go
is
more
a world
original
that's somewhere else.
Then
I
adapt
literally said
something.
that to you today.
She said that to me today. She's like, Galaxy's Edge is cool, but I feel like I'm on Earth. Pandora is cool, and I feel like I'm on a different planet. That's what she said. It's absolutely true. Absolutely true. So yeah, adapting existing characters and story and IP to create new experiences can be difficult, right? I mean,
Star Wars Land should have been a thing that I think we all assumed was just going to be the greatest thing ever done, period.
yeah.
And then we got there, we're like,
Well, 'cause
well, this
that's
is
what
very
they
good,
promised.
but this isn't as good as I thought in my mind. So like they fell short, I think, of expectations.
It's
Pandora said
But
the
I
park
would
was
argue, but I don't think so.
no.
But I would
think people
argue
just
it's
didn't get
because
what they
in Star Wars
expected.
again, they tried to go more original than an adaptation. I think they are still very
still
talented
blame
at
that on
adapting.
Lucasfilm.
To your point, the originality is not there for
Well,
original stories.
The problem, I think a lot of the problem
And I
with
don't
Star
think you
Wars,
can use Beauty and the Beast to judge that.
To be honest, though.
Okay, then hang on. I've been trying to say this for a few minutes.
ahead,
If we want to judge something original they've done recently, let's talk about the cue for Soaring and creating the entire lore around Camellia Falco and the sea characters. It's brilliantly done.
You guys put him on the show?
I'll give you that one.
Tom, you were there on opening day. You can't disagree with this.
I miss Tokyo very much. What are we talking about? Yeah, no, I agree. Like taking Soarin', which to me is a ride I don't care about. I don't like it. I don't care. I didn't want Tokyo to build it. But I show up and I'm like, this building is beautiful. And here's this backstory. And look at all this storytelling. And blah, blah, blah. And by the end, I'm like, well, they did a really good job with that. It's really clever and cool.
It's
and
the best version of Soarin'.
Someone took a project which was
That's a good
Tokyo
point.
wants Soarin'. And you have
I'll
to put
give
it
you
in
that one,
Italy.
Spencer.
And someone was like, all right, I got this. And came up with all this and pitched it. Was like, look, this is what I came up with. And everyone's like, that works really
And
well.
that's
That's
fostering
super fun.
creativity.
And even was like,
And it goes
I'm even
back
going to
to
change the
fundamental-
vehicle a bit. We get this ugly metal
Yeah.
thing out of here. We're going to make this
And it
look like
goes back to
something.
the fundamental problem that this all comes from management and the allocation of resources and money for those Imagineers.
Yeah.
It's not entirely the fault of the schools
It's
they
not
come
always
from.
the Imagineer's fault. But see, writing, you can't budget cut writing, right? So Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railway being a bad story and not being coherent cannot be budgetary. It doesn't work that way.
Right.
It starts with a core
But
issue
then-
and it gets
Like
worse.
Enchanted Tiki Room under new management was not a bad attraction for budgetary reasons. The writing wasn't fantastic, right? Stitch's Great Escape had money. They spent a ton of money on that animatronic.
Right.
They spent a ton of money. They had animation,
But the
through
stories-
all new drawings and everything.
Yeah.
And then
The story was pretty
it
weak.
sucked
Yeah.
because it was poorly written.
Yep.
Yeah.
It was the most poorly written attraction possibly ever.
Not
I don't know
great.
about that.
But that's, again, like, that's not money necessarily. It's
no,
creativity.
it's not. It's creativity. Yeah.
You're not,
Creativity. Well,
you're not engaging people, and that's what Joe was good at. And I think even when Joe was given no money, Dino-Rama, say what you want about Dino-Rama, but it
storyline
has
is-
the level of detail and storytelling without the money.
Yeah.
The rides are garbage, but it's enthralling. People think it's funny. Like today, we did the live stream. Every time
It's
I
a
walked to that lot
cohesive
full,
storyline.
that fake parking lot.
Actually, that was the best
And
part
I'm
of the
like,
stream.
this isn't genius. They didn't have money to do anything, so they came up with this thing that if I'm going to Six Flags, that's what it looks like when the lot's full.
Yeah.
This is real. They couldn't afford to change the amount to pay for parking, so they crossed it out and they put $2.
literally the best
And
part
it's
of
charming and cute and it works. And they had no money to do it.
Right.
like today.
It's Dino-Rama, for as much as people hate it, and as much as their divisiveness over it, it has a cohesive storyline.
It has moments
does.
of charm.
It
They're
has
not
a
in the
very
rides,
strong
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
understandable storyline.
I don't personally enjoy it, but I can appreciate it for what it is.
Well, you
But
can
if I was given, like-
understand it.
Your
Like,
point.
here's the thing. If I work
Yeah, and I can appreciate the charm of it. I don't particularly care for
The
the games or
attractions
anything.
suck, but you can
But I
Here's,
like
understand
here's a
it.
great example. A great example is other amusement parks and theme parks. What other amusement parks and theme parks do. And they have much less money to work with when they do these things. There is way less budget. And you have to be creative with the budget you have. And I think sometimes these lesser parks do something of value with no money because someone just has a really good idea.
Houdini's Great Escape.
No, it's not. Definitely not.
I love that,
Definitely
though.
not what I'm talking about.
I love Houdini's Great Escape.
But I
It
feel
was
like
a
in more
fantastic
recent years,
Nothing
like
deeper
even
in
like
Atlanta.
Sally and people, like they did that Justice League ride. People like that Justice League shooter ride. Is it a Disney level attraction? No, but they, for being a ride that they had to make affordable for a Six Flags, they gave Six Flags a really workable dark ride that people who go to those parks actually enjoy. That's your job in creative in this industry is you are given a budget and you have to be creative. So sometimes the money's out there. In the case of Walt Disney Company, there's no reason for the money not to be there. But I think an important learning
half the time it's not there
curve
anyway.
in the industry is you have to be able to you have to enthrall people with the money you're given. And it can be done. There are charming, cheap attractions that have been made.
Yeah.
They exist.
That's very true.
You know?
Yeah, absolutely.
Someone just brought up Knott's, and I think that's a great
Brought up what?
Knott's. And
That is a good example.
Knott's Berry
Yep.
Farm? Yeah, they don't have a big budget to work with, but I think that they updated that River
do a lot
Rapids
with what
ride,
they
and it's
have.
super charming.
Yeah.
It feels more like a Disney ride than anything Disney's built in the last 3 years.
Yeah.
It's just this cute little rapids ride with little animal vignettes. And for what they want, they accomplish what they set out to accomplish. It's cute and fun and enjoyable. They don't have the money of the Walt Disney Company, and yet Knott's Berry Farm continues to live on and make money.
And prosper and
Yeah.
grow. Yeah. Expand.
Courtney brought up another good one, Dollywood, which is on my hit list to
Yeah.
do since I'm so close to it.
They work with what they've
I mean,
got.
people
and-
come back and rave about it, and it's gorgeous.
Which is why Disney is held to a higher standard, right? Because Disney does have the money to do anything, right?
And they've done it
actually
in
have
the
money
past, right?
To do
like they've
anything.
demonstrated that they can do it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the
so
thing.
why they haven't done
like
it
you go
is
to
what's
Knott's and you
frustrating.
go on a River Rapids ride and you're like, wow, this is cute and charming, and they did a really good job because Knott's didn't set the standard in the industry.
Yeah.
Sure.
And then fails to live up to it 20 and 30 years later.
Yeah.
That's the difference.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're
not expecting anything great when you go to Dollywood, or Six Flags. So you are genuinely blown away when it's
But that's
actually
like-
great. You're expecting just an off-the-shelf roller coaster.
Right. I mean,
Comparing Hagrid's and Slinky Dog Dash is a good example. Pete, could you mute whatever you're doing? Hagrid's and Slinky Dog Dash are both family coasters outside. And Slinky Dog Dash is a pile of garbage. I am sorry. Yes, it's me and my kid enjoy it. Yeah, you enjoy it. It's a roller coaster. It has drops and stuff. By nature, it is fun.
Right.
Is it a good Disney attraction?
No.
No.
It's just a
No,
regular
No.
the biggest
just an
thematic element,
off-the-shelf roller
the
coaster.
biggest thematic element I see on that ride is that goddamn shed, that maintenance shed in the back, which is the most visible prop of the whole ride. And newsflash, it's not a prop, it's an actual warehouse.
Hold on.
Yep.
Like,
But
come
I mean,
on.
I like the tail that wags,
I like the backup.
but that's about
the
it.
back up and go launch thing, yeah. I
The
mean,
queue,
but no.
honestly, like the queue, other than the part where they didn't build shade, the queue is cute. Like, has a lot of cute little references.
Yeah.
And the Wheezy
Well, I mean, it would have been
animatronic.
if they
Weezy.
Very
Didn't
cute.
be
I like
thicker.
the end. The rest of the
Weezy
ride
was
can
cute.
burn to the ground tomorrow, and the world would be better for it. That's where I'm at with Slinky.
I mean, you go on Slinky Dog and you say, oh, I had fun on that. Well, of course you did, because it's a decent coaster.
Yeah, like it's going like
It's
in terms
fine.
of-
I have no problem if they buy an off-the-shelf prefab coaster.
No one in the world goes on a roller coaster that's not bumpy and is well maintained and comes off and is like, I hate that. It was miserable. It's a roller coaster. It's fun by nature.
No.
You know?
That's like.
But it
you're
should
going
have been
that
so
far.
much
I've
more.
been on unthemed roller coasters that I very much enjoy because they're fun to ride.
Right.
But that's not what I go to
Yeah.
Disney World
No.
for.
I go to Disney.
I've been on unthemed roller coasters.
I go to Disney for a story, and that just kind of is. It
I
brings.
go to
us
Disney to
back
see something I've never seen before.
Yeah, that brings us back to the whole Joe Rohde thing and like where this company is going,
Yeah.
and it's just a very scary.
It's,
like when he.
it's a depressing thought.
It's beyond scary. Epcot's leveled. It's
Yeah.
I've been scared. Now we're in depression.
Yeah.
We're in deep depression.
Pretty much.
That there's going to just be an AstroTurf field behind Spaceship Earth.
Yeah.
They're going to have paintball competitions on the former site of Interventions. Forget that site across from Gaylord Palms. Just rent out. Rent out Future World for your next outdoor get together. We can put up a tent for your wedding. We can do all sorts of things.
Get married.
Barbecue.
All sorts of fun.
World.
Epcot barbecue.
Very exciting.
All right. Do we want to move on?
Do you have more topics? It's already
When
9:37.
we're supposed to start the
Yeah.
auction.
Well, it's going to be
Oh,
10
yeah.
o'clock because
Oh,
that's
shoot.
what was
Okay.
on the schedule,
Yeah.
and
People can't-
people who are here now and want to
Oh,
be on the
that's
auction
fair.
can go and bid right now at auction.wdwnt.com.
Yeah, it's
So,
been going
so
on,
you can
so-
go
And if
bid,
you don't want to bid on stuff, you could just donate to Cast Pantry.
Yes.
or you can go to cast member
Or
pantry,
that.
pantry.wdwnt.com and donate. But okay, so there were
We're
a
at
handful of other things on the list that aren't going to take long.
20,962.
Say that again, Spencer.
We're at $20,962 for the cast member pantry right now.
That's incredible.
So
$20,962 and a slap in the face for you, Pete, when I get to Florida.
Wow.
Woo!
No, get out of here.
out of
This
here.
is pressing issues.
I'm trying to finish the show.
Get out of here.
Get out, Pete. This isn't your show.
You're ruining Alicia's debut on pressing issues.
Go ahead, enjoy your depressing issues.
All right.
Thank you.
So speaking of
Don't be
depressing
hateful.
issues, the next topic we were going to talk about was the Taste of Epcot International Festival of the Holidays.
Why is that depressing?
Well, because it just started.
Why is it
So that makes
depressing?
it depressing.
It was good.
It was really good.
Okay, good.
Food
I
was
wa-
actually good.
That's good.
Voices of Liberty is back.
We want to talk about it, so go ahead.
yeah.
You guys were there on opening
We'll let
day.
Alicia talk. She was there.
You guys were there on opening day.
We did.
Talk about
It was very
what was
positive.
good, what was your favorite parts. Voices of Liberty.
I didn't get to see Voices of Liberty. Jill and I were busy eating food all day, but I know Tom did get to see.
They were
Voices.
performing after you all done eating. You could have seen them.
That's true. But we started with Hawaii, which was new for this year, and I thought that the food was absolutely fantastic. I highly recommend it. It was my favorite booth of the whole festival. And honestly, like, I don't think, aside from Italy, of course, which we knew or had kind of figured wasn't going to be good, everything else that we had was, like, really good.
Yeah.
And, like, everything I think was worth the price. I didn't really walk away saying, oh, I think this was too much money for, you know, this item or whatever, like everything.
I mean, you guys didn't pay for it. But.
Well,
No, but I think I noticed this too.
It was a good value for Tom's money.
Give me the receipts. Let me see what we paid. I'll tell you.
I will say, and I think I noticed this yesterday because I was at Epcot yesterday and got a handful of things.
okay.
I think like the portion sizes
They were good.
are increased from the lows that they were a couple of years ago.
Yeah.
The portion thing in festivals in general, I think, has gotten better. Third party, sometimes a little questionable, but I think in the social media age, they've realized that those pictures make it to social media and that you
Looks
want
pretty
every dish
bad.
to look good.
Yeah.
Because you never know who's ordering it and how many people are going to see it.
Yep.
Right? I think that's kind of what happened.
That's
Plus, we get, like, I know they just started doing this for Food and Wine this year, but now you get the 6 or the 12-ounce options for
Well, they
alcoholic
didn't
beverages.
start doing it. It's back after several
Okay.
years
Yeah.
of
Yes.
being gone.
But
It's
I
like
think that's great.
please
that's
come
cool.
back. We brought back 12-ounce pours. Please come back.
Please drink.
But yeah, voices, even decor-wise, I was surprised like how much stuff was in World Showplace. A couple of photo ops, merchandise was
Olaf.
super cute. The Olaf scavenger hunt's cute.
It is really cute.
The tree is up. They pretty much fully decorated the park. They did the gingerbread display, which none of the resorts did.
We talked about it already, but Merry and Bright Lights for the land is back.
Yeah, it's
and
great
that's
every
fantastic.
year.
The
Yeah.
gingerbread display.
Figment has a sweater.
right on
Figment does
Tom's
have a sweater.
desk.
I think it's worth a visit. I think they went above and beyond and really pulled it. I think Festival of Holidays for me usually, other than the Illuminations tag when that existed, was a skip. And this year I actually feel like it feels special and worth going to.
And
Which
I
is
mean,
crazy because we're in a budget cut year basically. So like.
Well, I think they're coming around and where it's kind of like Disneyland here, where finally there has to be effort. So now the food has to be good. We no longer have the same amount of people showing up. So now people have to like the food or they're not going to buy more. So you can't serve people junk anymore.
except in Italy.
Except in Italy.
You know, you had to bring back Voices of Liberty because people miss it, and you want people to come see that. You want people to pay admission to come see something they miss. You want things to feel more like they're normal again, so you bring back more stuff that is the normal of Epcot. You give people photo ops, and you have a tree and the lights and living with the land overlay and all this stuff. There was just an effort to numbers were lower over the summer than you thought they were going to be.
That's what I think it
and
was.
so now you realize that you have to get back. And this is what I said in July. Is I said I hope what the pandemic means for this company is a return to customer service, a return to understanding that the customer may not be there tomorrow if you don't work to keep them.
Hey, I've been saying that for
I think
months now.
They took that to heart. I'm not saying they got it from me. I'm sure many of them said it to themselves. I think they took that to heart, and they did it. And I hope they continue to do it. I hope every festival in the foreseeable future exceeds expectations. I hope they are on a better course than they were before. And I think there are a lot of reasons to go at least spend a day or two at Epcot over the next month.
And I mean, both of you said that you were impressed and thought this festival was good, which is more than what most people said about Food and Wine.
Yeah.
Food and Wine, I mean, they for what they had time to work with.
Well, yeah,
I understand.
but I think
I don't think they did a bad job with Food and Wine. I think they did what they could do.
But I think what they learned, that was that over the summer, with attendance lower and people not coming for Food and Wine, I think that's where they got that message that if you
people
don't
won't
do
just
a
order
better
food
job,
because it's there.
That's right, exactly, and they learned that with Food and Wine over the summer. That's exactly my point.
They can't go the old way and just be like, whatever we serve will be ordered because there's this many people in the park.
Right.
Yeah.
So they absolutely learned from the lackluster, reviews of Food and Wine that they need to do a better job with festival holidays. And to their credit,
I mean,
like
I
you
don't
said,
remember
they
the
did.
last time there was a festival where I was like, I actually want to go back and have a couple things again. And I think for this
is
event,
it.
I do. I think like in a week
from
from now, I
Hawaii.
kind of want to go back and actually have a handful of things that we had and have them again because they were good.
Someone in chat raised a really interesting question. They said right now, Epcot versus Magic Kingdom, like Christmas-wise or holiday-wise, like what do you think is better?
I mean, Epcot has an attraction overlay for Christmas.
Hey, Magic Kingdom has the decor and the music.
Jungle Cruise, okay. Epcot has the music.
They all did good this season. I think everyone did as much as they could. Magic Kingdom, like between the cavalcades, you can see almost the whole parade. They didn't want to do the lights, so they did the projections, which someone fought to at least have a little bit of pyro, which was a nice gesture in the midst of all this.
Yeah.
And they fought to actually fully decorate the park, which is great. Hollywood Studios, same thing. They fought to decorate most of the park other than Grand Avenue and Toy Story Land. And they fought to do the projection show. Same at Animal Kingdom. They fought to do the projection show on the Tree of Life, which is great.
Yeah.
And they still did the full decorations. They couldn't do Merry Menagerie, but they updated. And all the parks updated their cavalcades, too. Like everyone, unlike Halloween, everyone did something for the cavalcades, and it felt grander and bigger. And I think in total, Walt Disney World did a very good job handling Christmas. They still decorated resorts. They still rolled out a lot of special food resort-wide. I would have liked the gingerbread displays, but I understand maybe the line had to be drawn somewhere this year to make next year more special. Yeah. But I think given the circumstances, I was very impressed with what resort-wide was able to be accomplished.
Yeah, I would totally agree. And I think even merchandise, like Festival of the Holidays merchandise,
I know you guys were so excited.
They were smart
about
about it. It was a handful of items.
Yeah.
They were good items.
They were good items.
You didn't overdo it.
Yeah.
Where if like Food and Wine, you do 8 different lines and 3 of them are junk.
Right.
And one of them is good.
No, the Festival of the Holidays merchandise was good this year. They absolutely did a good job.
Adorable.
Of it.
Yeah.
It is very cute.
Yeah.
So that was, I think they're fine. I hope they learn now what is working. I hope between.
I think they're going to see it work.
Well, yeah.
People aren't dumb. I know sometimes management in the company, not everyone. There's some management that definitely cares and works very hard, and works against the management that doesn't. But there's some management that just doesn't get it, and.
Or they're just waiting to collect their checks and go to retirement.
Yeah, but there's enough people clearly who still get it and are fighting, and that's good.
Yeah.
It's good to see people care. I like when people care. I think they'll see the numbers. I think the numbers will prove that Walt Disney said quality will out, right?
Yeah. And they haven't been following that for years.
You'll learn it all over again. It's cyclical. Company's cyclical.
Yeah. Very good.
Speaking of quality of Will Out, really quickly, I have some breaking news that just came in. Tom, your favorite ride is reopening tomorrow.
20,000 Leagues?
Oh,
Yeah!
Excited.
Okay, Spencer, now I need you to leave the show and find a legal loophole that allows me into Tokyo. I need you to go now.
You've been saying that for like 6 months.
No, but now 20,000 Leagues
Now
is
it's
open.
urgent.
Now
So
it's
now I
serious.
must go.
Now it's urgent.
Spencer, have they
I must
released
go.
how they're gonna do it? Is there plexiglass between the benches, or
I assume they're just going to put one party in each.
I don't. It literally it just showed up on the refurb schedule that the closure ends tomorrow. So
Are we publishing that now?
we will be there on Wednesday the 2nd. So I will ride the
Publish that
ride the
it's
day after it
opening
opens.
right now, though.
publish?
Okay.
Thank you.
All right. I know. So Axel and Jill and Eric messaged me, and they want a little bit of time to talk before the auction starts. So we're pretty much through the pressing issues of the week. I think we covered things.
Only one was depressing.
That's true. We
Yeah.
ended
One was
on a high
positive.
note.
Yeah.
We ended on a high
Only
note.
the big one, but yeah.
So I'm gonna play the pressing issues outro right now, and then we'll flip it over to them, and they can talk about. I think they're just gonna try to drum up support for their auction item, but we'll see what happens. So anyway, thanks for tuning in for this abbreviated version of Pressing Issues. On behalf of my panel, Ashley and Alicia and Tom and Spencer, thanks for watching, and we'll see you next week.